evening, late night freaks. I'm here to drop in with you for a late night talking tarot. It's been quite a while since we've done one of these. And I was just reviewing some of the late night talking tarots when I revisited the Marilyn Monroe series. And I was like, why did I stop doing this? Like, this is what I really enjoy. And this is when I really thrive, is in the small hours. And I like to drop in for some deep out there conversations and just explore the outer limits and have some fun. So thank you to all of you who are joining me tonight for the airing of this, and all of you who will also join me in the replay. Welcome. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Great Attractor, and the Great Attractor was really front and center with the recent Sagittarius full moon that we had, and is greatly influencing this lunar cycle. And personally, I feel will be having a strong influence all throughout the dawning of the age of Aquarius. And I got a whole download on it. And for some reason, there's a lot of action happening in this particular lunar cycle. And you know, there's so much that goes into it, and I could get into all of that, but I just was really drawn to the Great Attractor, which makes sense because it is very magnetizing. It does have a gravitational pull. But if you would like to know more about some of the action going on, I hope you'll check out Cal Garrison on Coffee. She has a page set up there where she's offering her written scopes, and she does a wonderful astrological right up to open, where she really talks about all the placements. And we had Cal Garrison on here, and I hope to have her on again for the changing of the nodes. It was just a really great drop-in with her, and she's known as the mother of the sky. Okay, so just such a great source of wisdom, and I'm so happy to know her, and we're so lucky to have her offering this service. And you know, she's offering her scopes on Coffee for, you know, a buck, starting at $1 a donation. You could do $1 a month and get all of her wisdom, you know, every week, monthly, you know, for $1. So go on over there and show her some love, okay? And you can find her at Cal Garrison on Facebook, all right? I just love Cal. She's awesome. I have a lot of respect for her because she really delivers the truth, you know? The truth from an astrological standpoint. She doesn't pull any punches, and she lets you know what's up. And, you know, she's very real, and she's in here with the rest of us, you know, wading through the muck, and I really value her presence. So be on the lookout. I hope to have her come in again. I'll be hopefully making an announcement about that soon. We talked about it the last time she came on, which was a wonderful experience. So do check that out. It's under the broadcast, okay? You'll see an evening with Cal Garrison that we had there, and you'll get so much information about what's going on with all the shifting and changing in the cosmos and how it's shifting and changing us. But I just really felt drawn to just focus solely on the Great Attractor. And so that's what we're going to do in tonight's Late Night Talking Tarot. Do be looking for more Late Night Talking Tarots to be coming in. I'm reviving some things on the site. We're heading in a more astrological direction here. So I'm going to still focus on doing, you know, reads for the different signs, but we're going to go more in depth. We're going to start talking about very significant transits and how that will affect us. And we're just going to study the stars together, and also, you know, bring some of the old stuff back, the late night stuff back. So thank you so much to all my subscribers and everybody who supports the channel. Your support means so much. Tonight, I'm going to be working with my mega deck here, okay, which is a combination of the Arcane Bullshit Oracle along with the Angel Tarot and the Occult Tarot. I feel like it's appropriate for what we're going to be looking at tonight. And I'm just going to be, obviously, I can't like shuffle this deck, and I have to just pick a section of it. So while I talk to you all about the astrology around the Great Attractor, I'm going to be shuffling this, okay? And then after we dive into the discussion, then I'll do a collective read, and we'll just see what comes on through. So the first thing we're going to be looking at is what exactly is the Great Attractor? And the reality is we don't really have any answer for that, at least not definitively, okay? The reason for that being is that we have a hard time seeing that far into the outer reaches of space. The Great Attractor is surrounded by a lot of density, and it has a great gravitational pull. And what it's doing is it really seems to be pulling all the galaxies in the universe in its direction. You know, we're all heading on this same course, but we don't have the technology that really allows us to see that far out into space. And a lot of that has to do with our universe and the fact that we are in the galaxy of the Milky Way, and the Milky Way is full of all kinds of dust that affects the visibility of what we're able to kind of map out the universe with our current technology using X-ray telescopes and infrared telescopes. So when you have all this dust and flotsam and jetsam related to, you know, space junk and, you know, birthing stars and dying stars, it really cuts down on our visibility and how far we can see. And we really started mapping out the universe back in the 70s, right? And we started to understand our place in that immeasurable heaven a little bit, you know, a little bit more. But it wasn't until later on in the 90s that we kind of advanced our technology and we started to get a little bit broader of a perspective on what's out there in the cosmos. So there's a lot of mysteries surrounding what exactly the Great Attractor is, and I have my own download on it. Okay, we're going to be having some fun with this particular drop-in. We're going to head at this exploration from both a scientific and a quantum physics angle, but I'm also going to bring in metaphysics and just speculation, you know. I have some certain downloads that came in that I feel really mirror what's going on in the collective consciousness right now. So I want to bring it in and I just want to talk to y'all about it. So there is a theory that the Great Attractor might be a black hole just because of that gravitational pull that it has. I have a hit that it's probably a portal to a different dimension, you know, why not? I have a whole theory around that, but I kind of want to get into the science before I go out to the outer reaches of exploration, okay? So, you know, the thing is that this great accumulation of density that creates this gravitational pull around the Great Attractor, it's all part of the grand creative design of the cosmic web. And they say it's a web that will never be completed. Okay, I mean, it could be, maybe not, right? I mean, what do we really know with any certainty when it comes to exploring outer space? It's a whole new world, really. But it was first in the 70s that astronomers discovered this strange magnetic pull that was drawing all the galaxies, including our own, towards the same unknown destination. And that destination is hundreds of millions of light years away. And the Great Attractor is in the zone of avoidance, all right? And that's because it's an area that's out of range for our observation. So though we've been able to map out the universe to a certain extent, how much we've been able to map out has been very limited by our visibility, because we need to have the light to be able to really be able to pinpoint where that density is and exactly what is in that density and what galaxies are there. You know, we can only get a clear image of so much. So we still have some limitations, you know, even with the more advanced technology. But what we do know is that all of the galaxies in the multiverse seem to be interconnected through that cosmic web. And we also know that everything seems to be on the move towards this Great Attractor. And it's sort of the hub of, think of it like a wheel with spokes, you know, branching out from it, that extend to all these different galaxies in the multiverse. In fact, our own Virgo cluster and all its surrounding galaxies are on the move to the Norma cluster, which is part of Leniakea, which is a Hawaiian word that means immeasurable heaven. And this is the solar system, or not really a solar system. Well, I don't know. There might be its own sun out there. We don't know what's out there, okay? But that came in, so who knows? Anything is possible. But it's part of this, Leniakea, which is a group of 500 clusters with more than 100,000 individual galaxies. And it's over 500 million light years away. So just to give you some perspective of what we're looking into, and I am going over some bullet points that I have here because I really don't want to miss anything in diving into this. I want to make sure that I cover all the bases so you can have a clear picture as I dive into my download and what came through for me. 11:33 on the clock when I said that, right? A lot coming into alignment. I like this 11:33 energy. 11 is not only coming into alignment, but 33 is a master number, and it's actually a building block for the future, a building block in creation. And that's exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the creation of this cosmic web, which it looks like everything is wanting to create this whole entire multiverse around this center point of this great attractor. So this is very significant. Now, how were we able to start to really map out our universe, our particular solar system? Well, we were able to do that with the CMB, which stands for Cosmic Microwave Background. The Cosmic Microwave Background is comprised of light that is an echo of the Big Bang rippling throughout the multiverse. It is the electromagnetic field of that first light that traveled from 380,000 years ago once our universe cooled off from a plasma state and formed neutral atoms. And to provide perspective, just of how recent of an event that was. It may seem like, oh, that was so long ago, but, our universe is 13.77 billion years old. And I find that so interesting. One thing that I really connected with as I started to dive into the Great Attractor, which drew me in, it magnetized me. I was drawn to the Great Attractor with this astrology like a moth to a flame. And there's something significant about it, and I can't put my finger on it, but I feel like it's important. But that 13.77 billion, it's so significant because 13 and 77 have been coming up in my reads like crazy. And not only that, it's pretty wild. I've been noticing on YouTube even that so many different readers are picking up this 13 energy. So many readers are picking up this 77 energy. And maybe that's why I'm so drawn to it, because I was born on Friday the 13th. So 13 has always been a power number for me. So maybe that's it. I just kind of resonate with the energy of this whole tale that's unfolding here. But the CMB contains 99.99% of all the photons in the entire multiverse. All right. And I want you to think of it sort of like a plasma screen. All right. That's the best way to look at it. It's like a plasma screen that is the light field. And this is how we've been able to map things out with the current technology that we have. But where there's light, there's shadow. And this is significant because in the backdrop is dark energy. All right. Now, what is dark energy? Astronomers don't understand what dark energy is, but it is causing the expansion of the universe to accelerate. Over time, the galaxies that are not already connected will drift further apart more rapidly. So where the Great Attractor is kind of like pulling everything in think of the dark energy having a repelling effect. Do you smell what I'm stepping in? It's such a metaphor for what's going on in the collective consciousness right now. Now, the dark energy is the backdrop to the CMB, the cosmic microwave background, right? So think of it as it's like layered, okay? Ted, Ted has to weigh in with his 2 cents. But the thing that's really interesting is early on, after the Big Bang, the gravitational pull shut down, which has allowed dark energy over time to take hold and dominate, all right? So in a few billion years, Andromeda, Triangulum, and the dwarf galaxies in our own galaxy will merge, and we'll be left behind as the others get pulled more and more towards Laniakea out there at those far reaches of space. And I feel that's also such a message and so significant, right? I mean, it really just parallels what's happening with humanity and with our world. And so I really wanted to dive into this and explore this. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about my downloads and what came in for me around this, just from a channeled perspection, a channeled perspective, perspection. Maybe it's perspection, it's perspective with a little bit of circumspection. You know, I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, so it's just hardwired into me that I look at everything as macrocosm is reflected in microcosm. And we are a reflection of whatever's happening out there in the multiverse, because we are that. It's all one energy, it's all interconnected. And so I find it really interesting, this tale of the Great Attractor, which is largely a mystery, and life is a mystery to us. And many of us feel like we've been moving through our own lives with everything we've been going through, with all the heavy plutonic energy of the South Node in Scorpio, with all the Uranus square Saturn action that went down last year. You know, we're at a very uncertain point in the world, and so much is shifting. And I think so many people feel like they're fumbling around in the dark. And so I think it's interesting the way, you know, this dark energy is causing things to, causing galaxies, you know, to be repelled from each other. It's causing this expansion of separation. And you see that that's also what is happening in our own world through polarization, through, you know, you could say the dark forces in life. Although, you know, I don't really like to use that lingo a whole lot because I feel like it's really steeped in colonialism. But I want us to think more of darkness in its shadow aspect and just not being able to see clearly, not being able to see our way forward. Everything is very polarized, and it feels like at this time that the shadow has a lot more hold, a lot more sway. And what I really am picking up is, you know, the thing about that cosmic web of creation is that, you know, they say that that cosmic web is never going to be completed, that we will absolutely never see it, that it's billions of years away, you know, before everything would even head towards Laniakea, okay? So, and that Great Attractor as its center point. So we would never see it in our lifetime. And I think this is very interesting too, because it really mirrors what a lot of us are feeling right now, right? We're going somewhere. We feel pulled to go somewhere. We feel like we have some destination we're supposed to arrive at, but we don't know what that destination is. We don't know how we're going to get there. And we feel just like we're fumbling around in the dark, trying to find our way and feeling more and more lost, even as we feel like this pulled, something unnameable pulling us forward. So I just find that so interesting. And I feel like that cosmic web is a metaphor of the matrix and the density that is responsible for the gravitational pull, and what is being magnetized, okay, is the algorithm, right? Now we're going to go out there. Now I'm heading into metaphysics, and this is not based on scientific fact at all. This is just the download I got around this, okay? That the algorithm is in our own microcosm, okay? In humanity's microcosm is a reflection of that, you know, great attractor. And we get to decide how we use that energy. Are we using it to build the light, to build the creative force, or are we using it to build that the darkness, you know, to move into more of a place where we don't have clarity, where we can't see, where we can't come to a place of understanding about our place in the world, or what we're being called to do, or what our purpose is, right? So I hypothesize that the great attractor is a density of light. That's just my personal, you know, take on it. And the reason why I say that is we know that our universe is relatively young in comparison to the rest of the multiverse out there. So it stands to reason if the light that came our way, that gave us this CMB, you know, as this backdrop, this plasma screen that we could map out the heavens with, it makes sense to me that there must have been previous Big Bang energy, right? And that what is going on over there around that great attractor preceded us by billions of years, all right? We don't even know how old really creation is. We don't. I mean, we can guess, we can take a stab in the dark, but nobody has truly any concrete answers about that. So to me, it makes sense that it's like its own, you know, CMB over there, you know, that it's a buildup of light. Now, you know, like I said, I don't know. I have this image in my mind of like, it's sort of like this new sector of the multiverse is building, and it's sort of like you can be part of this building, you can be part of building this future, or you can be left behind. And I feel like that's very much like sort of a mirror of what's going on with civilization right now, with humanity right now. I really feel that to build the light through creativity can accelerate the completion of the cosmic web through cracking the algorithm and thereby influencing the matrix, all right? Since we are a mirror of that greater expanse of creative energy out there in that immeasurable heavens, right? So think of the matrix as a grid, and this grid covers all of reality, and each square in that grid is a window that you can view reality through, and that becomes your reality tunnel. And you experience life through that view, through that perspective. And that's a direct reflection of the macrocosm. Now, the thing is that humans always feel like they're so separate from creation. And we see this in just like religious dogma and, you know, even in how we deal with one another, just on a social level. You know, we see ourselves as separate from one another, and yet we know that everything in all of creation is made of atoms, positive, negative, neutral energy. So we're all the same stuff. We're all made of the same stuff, and we all come from the stars. So there's this piece that like we're missing something here, and somewhere along the way we bought into this lie of separation, and that's what's kept us out of the heavens. Maybe that's what's kept us from really stepping into that immeasurable heaven, because we lost the keys to the kingdom along the way by buying into this sense of division and separateness. Okay, so I personally feel that humans, as we often do, are sort of shirking our own responsibility and our own accountability for being part of the creative force in the multiverse. And, you know, just stick with me here. You often will hear people say that humans only use 10% of our brain's capacity. And I think that I even have parroted this in the past, because it's sort of just been what's been said over and over and over again. And largely, this is also part of the algorithm. It's something that you hear a lot of new agers talk about. Usually when they're trying to market something they want you to buy into, they are trying to convince you that if you get this particular, herbal remedy that they got, or if you sign on for their program, that they're going to help you use more of your brain. But this is just simply not true. It's just a myth. It's a myth that's like been passed on from, one person to another. And it's so deeply ingrained in our algorithm that we just, blindly accept it as the truth. But I was thinking about this today and I was like, is it really true? Is it really true that we only use just a fraction of our brain? So I decided to go down a rabbit hole with that. And I did some research, and it's actually not true that all the data shows we use 100% of our brain's capacity. And so when you look at it this way, if you look at it as, oh, I only use 10% of my brain and I don't have access to the rest, so I'm not really capable of making any miracles happen. I don't really have a part to play in shifting the energy at all. I'm not responsible for how things play out in my own life, let alone on a global level, or even beyond that, on a level of the multiverse. I'm not really a part of that cosmic web of creation, but it's simply not true. As usual, humans like to bypass accountability. I think discovering this, and just for me, seeing that today in the research I did to learn that humans actually use 100% of their brain's capacity, showed me that we really are succumbing to the energy of that Kali Yuga, which we're in the last days of. We move out of the Kali Yuga once it hits 2025, okay? But in the meantime, we're heading to the peak of it. And so this is a time where lethargy, laziness, indulgence, greed, apathy, these energies are at the forefront. And so it's a lot easier for people to shirk responsibility than to say, you know what, the energy I bring forward in the world makes a difference. It absolutely does have an effect. And I'm responsible for holding my part of it and considering, what am I creating? What am I bringing forward in the world? Okay. So I was thinking about this. I'm like, okay, well, how can we sort of move forward towards being part of that cosmic web of creation? And this is like a way out there hypothesis. But if we are a reflection of macrocosm, what if everybody really started to build this creative energy, okay, by investing in what really created a building of the light in our own lives, and that light ripples out from our lives and affects the lives of others. And then it's sort of like plucking, when you build your creative energy, when you bring your creative visions forward, when you move forward into action in this way, it's like you are plucking one of the strings in that cosmic web, and it sends a reverberation all throughout creation. And that's not just on the level of our personal reality and our own little matrix, but throughout all of existence. And yes, we really do have that power because we are creators. We are a reflection of Creator. We don't need an intermediary to connect with Creator. We are that, all right? So I was thinking about, the importance of us kind of using our own personal CMB, building that light in our lives and viewing it as a movie screen that we can like project our visions onto. And I feel like a key to this, to be able to really access this creative visioning that can help build the light in all of creation, has a lot to do with the pineal gland, okay? So what can we do to really decalcify the pineal gland? And there's a lot of things that calcify the pineal gland. Illness can calcify the pineal gland. Age, of course, just the toxins we come into contact with, certain pharmaceuticals, and your pineal gland is really that seed of creation. It looks like a pine cone, okay? And that's so symbolic of the power of the pineal gland when it comes to psychic visioning, because think of a pine cone, what a pine cone becomes. I mean, a pine cone grows into a large tree, you know, and its roots burrow deep and its branches reach toward the heavens. So, you know, there's this piece of like, it may seem a small thing, but big things come from small things, you know. It's like a seed. It's a seed, and so much grows from it. I also like that, you know, pine cones also are sort of multi-layered, much like the multiverse. And it makes me think of the lotus flower. And we've been talking about this recently, no mud, no lotus. It's like, yeah, we may be wading through the muck right now. But this is a very transformational time. And as difficult as it is, and as much as we feel challenged, there's also really an opportunity for us to move into expansion with that dawning of the age of Aquarius, and with Pluto in Aquarius that's going to be with us, you know, for a hot minute, you know, a couple decades here. We really are like, it's like a rebirth, that summer of love, you know, that energy is going to be coming front and center. Now, if you think back to, you know, the late 60s and everything that was going on during that summer of love, there was, yes, a lot of love and a lot of art and a lot of creativity and a lot of expansion on that level, and a lot of exploration of the psyche. You know, there was, you know, all the acid tests, and, you know, Timothy Leary and Alan Watts, you know, and all of this sort of like psychonaut exploration of the cosmos within our own psychological makeup. Okay. And this did lead to a lot of conscious expansion. But in tandem with that, there was a lot of unrest, right? There was a lot of heaviness. There was the Vietnam War. There was a lot of aggression in the world. There was a lot of backlash. And there was a lot of us versus them energy present, much like there is now, where things are very polarized. And it's a shame, because there was so much that was moving forward progressively at that time. And yet, eventually we sold ourselves out, you know, to capitalism, to chasing artificial fulfillment through material gain. And, you know, we saw that all the hippies became the yippies, you know, they became yuppies. And, you know, again, lost the keys to the kingdom, you know. And I believe that's a story that has played out time and time and time again. I don't believe that this is the first incarnation of our reality. I mean, maybe at one point there was another, you know, existence that got sucked through, you know, a great attractor like energy and popped out the other side into a parallel dimension. We don't know. Anything is possible. But I feel like if we start to put some attention right now, like what's something practically accessible to us that we can do right now to feel more empowered, and just as an experiment, can we try it as a social experiment? Can we open our minds maybe through this lunar cycle, just play with this energy a little bit, maybe even moving up to fall equinox, you know, can we just play with this energy a bit and just see what happens in our own lives, see how it affects our relationships, see how it shifts our reality. By kind of putting some energy into visioning and bringing our creativity forward and actually taking action in this way, and see how can we change things? How can we be that change through shifting our focus and the way we bring our energy forward in the world? Okay, so what are some practical things we can do? Because if you got like calcification in the pineal gland, you can't really do this visioning work. It's like it's shut down, you know. It's like you need to defrag it. And so one of the things you can do is really focus on your sleep. All right. And I'm not talking woo-woo when I'm talking about this. This is medical, you know, this has been medically backed. This is something that is well known, that really focusing on getting quality sleep is so significant. And ironically, when it comes to the pineal gland, light plays a central role in its healthy functioning. Isn't that interesting? So even in our own consciousness, there's this mirror of this shutdown of the creative energy, this calcification of the pineal gland, and it's related to us not getting enough light in our lives or not getting the right kind of light, okay? And that makes me think of that sort of like platitude, kind of love and light energy. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. It's not about artificial light, all right? Because blue light is very disruptive for sleep. So that's the first thing that you can really do to start to decalcify your pineal gland is you can start to, turn off your electronics an hour before you plan on going to sleep, and maybe indulge in some creativity at that time instead. Make some music, do some creative writing, do some coloring, dance, any kind of creativity. Just explore and let what wants to come forward in you come forward in you. And maybe you don't really feel like you're a creative person, but that's simply not true. Everybody's creative. Your very existence is creative. You wouldn't be here if it weren't for an act of creation, procreation, okay? So be a procreator in your life, don't move into this apathy and stagnancy. So that's one thing you can do. Just reduce the artificial lighting that's around you. And let's also counterbalance some of that AI, some of that artificial intelligence as well by really activating our own intelligence and waking up our consciousness again in this way. It's like, I think of artificial intelligence and the way that it's taking over art. And it's like, it's because we've become so lazy. Humans don't even want to bring their creativity forward anymore. We don't want to be active participants in the building and creation of our life. And so we just allow ourselves to be, led along, some garden path that ultimately will be our undoing and our destruction if we don't take action, okay? Another way that you can really stimulate the pineal gland is through sun gazing. And you can do this first thing in the morning. And what you do is you go and you face the sun and you close your eyes so they're almost all the way closed, but you're leaving just a little sliver of access for the light to enter. And you allow the nurturing rays, the vitamin D, to come in through the eyes, and this stimulates the pineal gland. And you'll know when you've kind of gotten enough of that light feeding the pineal gland when you start to get a little bit of tearing happening in your eyes, okay? And that's enough. It doesn't take very long for this to have benefit. Maybe 5 minutes of sun gazing to start your day. I think it's a beautiful intention too. The sun is the life-giving force in our universe. So just to align your energy with the light-giving force is such a beautiful thing. And what is possible if you really activate your pineal gland? That we don't know, all right? Because our pineal gland has been so shut down by all the pharmaceutical medications. I mean, we are a heavily sedated society. I mean, the Ramones, I want to be sedated. So many people are just feeling so hopeless and at a loss that a lot of times they're checking out. And it's right at this point that instead of checking out and throwing in the towel, we need to be dropping in, like so much we need to be dropping in, okay? Another way that you can activate the pineal gland and stimulate the pineal gland is through meditation, through visioning, and through being creative, okay? So there's so many ways you can do that, and not all forms of meditation are for everybody. Some of us really don't want to sit around, oming it out. We need to be active. Well, kill two birds with one stone. Go, get outdoors, get into the sunlight, do a meditative walk, really bringing your focus present and tuning into the way your muscles feel when they're moving, and noticing the feeling of the breeze on your face and the sun warming you, that can be a meditation in and of itself. Going on a hike and taking your most pressing problem that you just put all your focus on and releasing it when you get to the top of the mountain, that's another form of meditation. So explore, coloring, coloring mandalas coloring them in. You can find mandala coloring books. That can be another form of meditation. Dance can be a form of meditation. Making music can be a form of meditation. Anything that gets you out of your head and into your body and your feeling nature, where you feel very present, can be a form of meditation. So just allow yourself to explore. And if you are somebody who is drawn to mantra, you might want to work with Black Mahakala. It's interesting because Kala is time, you know, and we only got so much time left, and we are coming to the end of the age of the Kali Yuga, and Black Mahakala is the devourer of all enemies of truth. And I just got a real hit that his energy is very front and center. I almost would say soldier, you know, and in a way, Black Mahakala is a soldier. Black Mahakala is a soldier of the light. Black Mahakala builds the light. Isn't that interesting? So it's almost like that archetypal deity itself, Black Mahakala, is almost like a symbol of that, you know, that darkness. Ooh, and just as I said that, there's a spider on my nose. Like this, yes, it's like the web of creation. I love how stuff like this comes through. I mean, spider medicine is all about that creative energy, weaving the web of creativity. So I love that that's coming through. And I'm going to work with this section of the deck here. So you could work with Black Mahakala, and I really encourage you to do some research on Black Mahakala. There's different forms, different colors, and each color of the different forms of Mahakala has a different influence. But Mahakala in the Black form is all about dispelling the darkness and calling forward the light. And there's a mantra, it's a beautiful mantra for working with him. And I'll just call that light forward now as we're shuffling these cards. I'm going to do a little collective read. And the mantra is Om Mahakala Kala Bakala Ratriti Dampini Kandali Rakshisi Singali Divabyo Humfet Om Shri Mahakala Humfet. All right, so you can do some research on that, and maybe have Black Mahakala sort of help you overcome what darkness has encroached in your life that is moving you into a place of apathy or stagnancy, and use that to move forward. It's also really interesting because with that Linnea, you know, 808. Those of you who've been tuning into my reads for a while, 808 has been coming in for me forever. And I realized, I was like, what is this 808 about? It's the Hawaii area code. Now I understand. It was coming in for Linnea. And 808 as an angel number means you're on the right track. Keep going, okay? So for me, it's big confirmation. And just as I say that, there's a spider again just dropped down with its webs. Oh, it's so funny to me, okay? I mean, I think what this really comes down to when we look at it this way, and I understand we're going really out there with this, right? But I really feel it's a parallel to what's happening in the world today. It's like that dark energy doesn't want us to know we have the power to generate the light with our own consciousness and be a birther of worlds. And I feel like it all begins here with the age of Aquarius. But are we going to choose ignorance? Are we going to choose to move back into that place of division like we did back then, you know, in the summer of love? After that, you know, we kind of lost our way, and we have an opportunity to find the right way, right? So, you know, if we don't actively participate in creation, we'll be left behind, you know, much like Atlantis was left behind. If we choose destruction, you know, there will be no further creation. And yeah, we might not see the completion of that cosmic web. What if? Can you imagine? We don't know, do we? We don't really know. We can't control other people's choices, but can you imagine if we used our creative consciousness, if every single person on the planet used their creative consciousness, brought creativity forward in the world, focused on that light? Who says? We don't know. Who says? Maybe we could complete that cosmic web, and maybe we'd find out what that great attractor is after all. I have a real big hit that during this lunar cycle, it's, ooh, okay, and this card came up. Oh, yes. I have a real big hit that it's very significant right now to look at your great attractor placement in both your natal chart and your progress chart. It's significant. The great attractor placement in your chart is going to let you know where your gravitational pull should be, where you should be magnetized, where you should be pouring your energy, where you should be creating. So have a look at that. For example, for me, my great attractor placement is in the 3rd house of communication, and I got Sagittarius sitting there with Neptune, okay? So I'm doing it right now. I'm investing my creative energy in alignment with my great attractor placement. So do check out where yours is. And in my progress chart, it's, you know, it's only come more into alignment, which is really kind of cool. So have a look at that, because that's what's going to highlight for you where you need to be building right now. The other thing that you can use for visioning and for sort of refining your energy and clearing out, you know, all the low vibe stuff that's keeping you in this sort of like stagnancy consciousness is the Merkaba. The Merkaba is the chariot that carries us into the future. It transports us, and it brings us healing energy through the divine union between the masculine and the feminine. And that begins first with us. So you might want to even do some work with the Merkaba. You might want to study that a bit. You might also want to do some meditation with the Merkaba, or maybe draw Merkabas, color Merkabas, you know, work with it in a creative way. There is no limitation with that, really. And if you feel pulled to the angelic realm, if that is something that speaks to you, you might also want to work with Metatron. Metatron comes in, he's an archangel, and he comes in with that Merkaba. So this piece coming in very strongly. So I'm going to have a look at what we got here on the board. Yes, I love it. Okay. So it's interesting because this card we got here, the Arcane Bullshit deck, we have a bunch of cats posing as a woman, all right? And so this really makes me think of secrets. When I think of cat medicine is about secrets. And so we're kind of like walking around in this life with a false identity, you know? The secret that we're not even aware of, even though it's like, it's inherent just in our existence, is that we do have the keys. We do have the keys to tap into that creative flow and have an impact, not only in our own lives and the lives of those around us, but our world as a whole. Oh my gosh, the spider is now on this camera here. It's on the plasma screen, okay? I'm telling you, we are part of this web of creation, and it's really about us awakening to this, you know, awakening to this and opening our eyes and seeing the reality of who we are, instead of sort of like going through this like social posturing and just buying into who the algorithm tells us we need to be. This is so important right now that we disrupt the algorithm by also considering how are we contributing to that web of creation. If we look at that algorithm as a template for our own little microcosmic web of creation, then it becomes very important for us to be mindful of how we're influencing that algorithm, right? Are we creating division, or are we creating unity? Are we part of keeping us in a place of apathy and stagnancy collectively? Or are we working towards unity, activation, coming into balance with that masculine, feminine, and moving into this place of expansion that the dawning of the age of Aquarius is asking us to do? And what we see is needed here right now is temperance. And I love that temperance came through because I brought in Archangel Metatron. So I feel this is really a confirmation of this. And it says, Shuakia, the God of joy. Reconciliation regains the favor of those one has offended. And I feel this is really speaking to the way that collectively we do not appreciate life. And it was 49, 44 on the clock when I said it. There's that 13 energy again. And 13 is a power number, right? And 44, again, master building number. We have more power than we realize to affect change. And we have to first move towards reconciliation. We need a shifting in our consciousness where we stay out of this polarization. And instead of focusing on all the differences and all the things that divide us, we start putting collectively our focus on a single point of focus. Where are we alike? Where are our commonalities? What is the point of connection? Because it's these points of connection that are the building blocks. They are the brick and mortar of the future we want to build. 5033 on the clock, master builder number. Again, a radical change is needed. A revolutionary change of the consciousness is required. But if we can do this and stop worrying about what this person's doing, what that person's doing, it's all about us bringing ourselves into a place of personal accountability. What are we doing? What role are we playing? But if we do this, look what we got. We get the keys to the kingdom. We get this new beginning with the Ace of Pentacles. I love it. That eye, the all-knowing eye. It's really, look, it almost looks like a birthing portal. And it's really reminding me of this, like this pineal gland activation is like the birthing portal of the vision that influences creation, has a ripple effect in that cosmic web. Ace of Pentacles, Gehathil, the adored God, divine blessings, drives away evil spirits, rules agricultural production. From here, all things grow. From here, all things become fertile when we activate this vision. What does it lead to? The Ten of Pentacles. Come on. The Ten of Pentacles. The ultimate fulfillment in manifestation. Manadel, the honorable God, inner and outer work helps one keep their job, protects against disasters. So again, it's like we can build the future we want. We have everything we need to make this happen, but it's up to us. We have a choice, and we have to make it on an individual level at this time and make that choice and live from that choice with our whole beings and not worry about what this person over here is doing, what that person over there is doing. It's not about being on our soapboxes, okay? It's about what am I doing? And what is my piece to hold? And how am I showing up and holding that mirror up to ourselves and practicing radical honesty? I want to do an overarching theme for the collective with these super awesome future cards. Yeah, look at this. Bam, we got lightning. We have 25 energy. Again, a radical change is needed here. And that's 7 energy. And this is an important year. This is a 7 year. This is spiritual influence. We're being asked to awaken. And we're being asked to let the tower fall, the tower of the false idols, which is the things that we've clung to as having meaning and significance in our lives when it's really not what it's about. At the end of the day, we've gotten so far away from what has true value and meaning in our lives, okay? So this is really about shifting that focus. And, you know, this is the reality. That's why the age of the Kali Yuga is here. It is to disrupt us. It's to shake us. It's to stir us. It's to crack, you know, crack our facade. It's to allow all that we've been hiding to come to light. And it's really about awakening, you know. Lightning can be destructive. It can also be illuminating, right? It can light up everything. You talk about pure light energy. So I feel like this is really talking about, you know, riding that lightning, you know, let these things that are shocking you out of your complacency be celebrated because they're the keys to your freedom, collective, all right? Overarching theme for the collective in relation to all of this, spirit. Overarching theme for the collective. Overarching theme for the collective in relation to this, spirit. What guidance do you have for the collective? If we invest our energy creatively, you know, if we all do this work individually, what happens? How can we shift that cosmic web of creation? How can we shift reality? How can we leave behind a legacy we can be proud of for future generations to come? You know, for those who will be left behind after all of us inhabiting the planet right now are long gone. What is possible? Woo, I love it. Look at that. Crossing influence, the rider, okay? This is about, whoop, I turned it upside down. This is about taking our heads out of the sand. It's taking a hard look at the reality of our situation and what we're facing, not trying to bypass it anymore, okay? Taking our heads out of the sand. And then once we do that, setting our sights, tuning in with that compass, the compass rose of our hearts, really getting centered in our hearts, what's of true value to us at the end of the day. And it's about moving forward, even though we don't have a map, right? We don't have a map for the universe. We don't have total visibility about what lies ahead. But at this time, it's about just trusting that gravitational pull towards the light. You know, I personally feel that that is what the Great Attractor is. I think it's like this vortex of light. So I feel it's like, let that light pull you forward. And start with first aligning with that light through just connecting with the sun, the light in our own solar system, and bring in the energy of the moon too. You know, the moon is also the light within the dark, as are all those stars. So it's about where you put the focus. Are you putting your focus on the darkness, or are you putting your focus on the light and that creative energy, so we can restore the balance between the light and the dark and move back into this place of creativity, okay? This is like finding our way home. This is like moving forward quickly and with power. Ostriches are fast and they have so much strength and power, and we gain our strength and power not through ignoring things, not through hiding from the truth, but through facing it squarely and working through our fears, charging forward toward what draws us forward, what inspires us, and what builds that creative energy in our lives. And I love this because where I brought in the cats before, look at this. It's about turning this energy of secrecy, you know, upside down. It's about exposing the secret, the truth, you know, that we have this illuminated wisdom, that we have this ability to be architects of a new kind of future. And it's about using this power in wise ways instead of destructive ways. How will you use your creative power, collective?